What's up, hobby maniacs? Rob Barrett here today with my newest video tutorial, I guess a hobby tutorial. It's been a hot minute since I hit you with one of these, so glad to be back in the studio, keeping it real, getting everything set up here. I'm actually driving back to Virginia at some point in the next day or two to pick up some more stuff out of my apartment and handle some doctor's appointments, because didn't know I was going to be leaving this month, but hey, it is what it is. So it's exciting times. I was able to knock out this video for you guys for this week, so really exciting. Now, it's on the Carnifex, and I know I know the plastic Carnifex model has been around for a hot minute, but it is a model that a lot of people have, and Games Workshop seems to push on us. So I figured, what the heck, we're doing a commission for a really good client of Kenny's, and I'm putting together, I want to say 10 of these and magnetizing them all out. So I wanted to show you guys how to put this thing together, some tips and tricks for putting it together, because it's one of those models that it wasn't designed on the computer, right? So they basically sculpted it and then kind of cast it up, and a lot of the parts don't go together. Let's just say they're a little out of whack. So I show you some tricks for how to get that looking right, because I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen some Carnifexes on the tabletop that are kind of like all busted, falling apart, gaps everywhere, stuff like that. So I'm going to show you some pro tips on how to assemble that, and also how to magnetize the arms themselves, the sockets on both sides. Tyranids traditionally are like a hexapod, which I guess means that they have 6 arms or 6 appendages, and of course the Carnifex is no different. So I'm going to show you basically how to real quick magnetize the arms, just doing one set real quick. And it's actually very easy, but if you want to sit there and take the time and have all the options, because you don't know what you don't know what's going to come down the line, and new Tyranid Codex supposedly rumored for 2016, and you don't want to be left out in the cold if Scything Talons are suddenly ridiculous and you guys have Devourers. So it's always good to magnetize your stuff and try to do as many options as you can, I feel like, because in the future you just don't know. If you plan on having your models for 5-10 years, you want to make sure you get your money's worth out of them, especially if you're paying for somebody like me to assemble them, and then somebody like Kenny to over at Next Level Painting to paint them up all dope. So that's a service we offer to a lot of people out there. And of course, I love sharing these tips and tricks with you guys. We did the Tyranids site, the drop pod, recently, and then this is part of the same commission. And I think there's about 12 Hive Tyranids for the same commission. So there's going to be a lot more stuff, a lot more Tyranids here in the near future, and we'll have lots of stuff in the bank for video tutorials. Now, I do have a quick shout out. Adam Stein is a new Patreon supporter over on Patreon. He's become a patron of the Spiky Bits Arts. Obviously, what we do here isn't for the money, but it does take it takes money to do the things we do here, between, sourcing all the products to do video reviews for. We don't get that stuff for free. We have to actually pay for it, and a lot of it I just resell after I buy it. But some of it I keep, nonetheless. And it's always good to have, the ability to go and get that stuff and review it for you guys. The White Dwarfs, this stuff, taking the time to make all these videos. It's very time intensive, and it's really good to see the support from a lot of you folks out there. If you haven't done so already and you would like to help support Spiky Bits and the video tutorials and the features and all the things we do here and on the blog, and there's so much. I don't even know. I don't know when I sleep. People ask me, they're like, when do you sleep? I was like, nah, I don't. And I don't that much, but that's okay. I love bringing the hobby back for you guys and helping to continue this great hobby out there. I've been a part of it pretty much the greater part of my life, and I love sharing this stuff with you guys and keeping everybody motivated and keeping, staying in the trenches and doing all this stuff for you guys. So it's great to see, Adam, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting Spiky Bits. If you'd, like to become a supporter, there's probably a link on the screen right now. Definitely check that one out. So that's about it for this intro. We're going to go right into the tutorial itself and show you some pro tips on the Tyranid Carnifex. Alright, so here it is, gathering up all the pieces, getting everything prepped. You can see all the torsos and things like that, and then you've got all of your extra accessories, the arms and things that we're going to show you how to magnetize, so you don't get left out in the cold here when a new edition of 40K or perhaps the Tyranids comes along, or the Tyranid Codex, and you don't know what's up. Putting together the actual torso itself is pretty simple. It's just left and right and kind of a top piece. Unfortunately, this is kind of where the whole computer aided design thing comes into play here. This is probably not computer aided design. It's probably some sort of hand sculpt, so it's not going to go together quite as well as you would like. There is going to be some gaps around the basically the spore stack kind of chimney area kind of thing. It's a little super annoying. Best thing to do, I found, is use some plastic glue. Get the Model Master Tester's plastic glue stuff with that metal applicator tip there that you can see. And what's going to happen is just kind of lock everything together into there. Get it as smooth and as snug as you can, and it'll start to kind of bond together. It's not going to be 100%. We're going to come back with some Vallejo plastic putty and just do what we can to get in there and basically fill as many gaps as we can with the plastic putty that the plastic glue doesn't. Now I'm actually using some rubber bands here to kind of tie the spore stacks together just to kind of see if it would work. It looked like it helped a little overall just to kind of get it to stick. It was a little touch and go to kind of get the rubber bands on there. I guess in the beginning you can kind of see I'm fiddling with them, and this is actually sped up. This is about 3 times normal speed, so you can imagine a little bit of the frustration getting all that set there. But once it's all together and you get the rubber bands on there, everything kind of starts to line up. It won't take long, like 20-30 minutes perhaps, to kind of for the glue to get tacky. I think I recorded this, I put it down, I played a couple games of Angry Birds, and then I kind of came back and everything was pretty much sticking together at that point, so it was good to go to move on to kind of the next jump point here. Now I left that armor plate off that you just saw because basically Kenny at Next Level Painting is going to be painting these, and I wanted him to be able to blend that one piece a little bit better. Now I may not glue these heads down, I may break these heads off just so he can get in there and do the details on the teeth and the top of the armor plates and things like that a little bit better, and to kind of do the work there, because they are kind of super annoying as far as, you know, everything locked together when you're trying to airbrush and paint things. The bottom of the Carnifex itself is actually very simple. It's a 2-part left and right legs, and then you've got kind of like a torso tail kind of thing, and there's a little nub that kind of glues on top. Now when you're using a plastic glue, make sure you apply it all around the little socket, I guess is the term for it, to where the legs are going to attach. So that's very important, so it gets a nice even seal, because this it can be very, I guess, finicky. Like you'll find that when you separate out the legs and make them a little bit more tackier and then slot them back in, they'll stay for sure. Now right here at this point, I guess about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes had elapsed, so the plastic glue started to get a little bit tackier, a little bit easier to kind of holding things together. Now here's the tech right here. Darren Brown at Hobbytown USA Fayetteville taught me this trick, and it's actually a really good one. You just take plastic glue and you just fill in the stacks, because they really don't need to be that deep to begin with, but if you just kind of like hose it into there, it forms this like sludge that just kind of like seals all the gaps up, because you don't want to see those like unseemly like crater sized gaps up in there. So now I just kind of scraped some of the areas there I wanted to scrape out with the little seam scraper to where the glue itself had not adhered, and I'm gonna grab that Vallejo plastic putty that we talked about. Really good stuff. Just kind of dabbing it on there, just like kind of like you're putting toothpaste on your toothbrush, I guess, so it gets in all the seams. And you really don't have to wait too long for this stuff either. Oh, and don't forget the back spore chimney stacks right there as well. There's a little bit of gaps that they go kind of deep, like they cut kind of up into there, and it's almost like the plastic glue couldn't drain down from the kind of the top where I kind of hosed it in. But this way I'll know for sure that everything filled up. So about 20 to 30 minutes later, you can just kind of get in there with your seam scraper and just scrape right off that plastic putty stuff. It's very easy. It comes off. It's gonna stay down in the crevices that you wanted to fill, and you see there it's very it hardens more in areas that's deeper. So like if you get stuff on like kind of like on the top of the armor plate, it's not going to harden as quick, and it'll come right off. It doesn't bond. It bonds to itself, and over time expands to the gap itself. It's got crushed up marbles and things like that in it, which is really interesting. So now we're going to take a look at magnetizing the arms. And let me tell you what, magnetizing is like a bane for some people's existence, which I totally understand. The first part to a good magnetization is drill you out a pilot hole for where you want to put your magnets, and that way you're not going to slip when you're using some power tools and stuff. So I always drill out a pilot hole. I grab my handy dandy power drill. I got a little Makita kind of thing. This is a 1/8 drill bit, so
basically just going to hit in there and try to keep it as straight, as perpendicular to the joint itself. It looks a little off in this picture because I'm trying to get like a camera angle, but trust me, it was pretty much perpendicular straight down into the crevice. Now there's going to be a little bit of material there, I'd say about a 1/16 to an 1/8 itself inside that actual hole that you can kind of see down into there, to where the magnets are gonna be able to set. If you put some glue, it will actually be able to stay in there, because there's going to be some natural tension that you're going to see right here. There's that natural tension. So not only is there the natural tension, but also when you use the glue, it's also very good. So I just grabbed the crushing claw arms, because they're really fun and nobody ever seems to take them at all. And I'm just taking the X-Acto knife and I'm just kind of planing down, and you'll see here, it looks like I'm like smashing the crap out of this thing here, but the camera's balanced on the cutting mat too. So you can see I just basically planed down the joint. So from being round, it's basically, I created a hemisphere where I just kind of lopped it off. Super easy, right? So that gives you the plane surface to attach your magnet to. And then what I would also do is go back with a little bit of glue around the lip of the magnet to also secure it both to the magnet itself. Now, a good thing to do here, and I didn't do it in this picture, but I will do it on the rest of the commission, is grab an X-Acto and kind of score the plastic. Don't score the magnet, score the plastic, because where you score the plastic, you're basically making little chevrons, little hazard stripes into the plastics where you're going to glue the magnet, right where you see me putting the glue in this picture. What you're doing there is creating an extra level for the glue to actually bond into the plastic instead of just on the surface. You're actually cutting into it and it's getting a little bit deeper. The whole theory with like rebar and cement and things like that, it's very similar. Now, if you just let it naturally set on the plastic parts, it's going to take a little bit. Now, obviously, it's going to take a little bit here, and this is sped up, I think 3 times in this picture here. It doesn't quite want to bond, so I'm going to use a little bit of zip kick or accelerator. Be very careful with that stuff. It's going to actually make your bonds a little bit more brittle in this instance. So I'm going to go back and reinforce it a little bit more after the video. Normally you would just want this to naturally dry by itself, so you get that better bond. And I will go around the outside lip as well, around the circumference of the magnet itself, with a little bit of a bead of glue as well after it dries. So this is going to take a little while. So what I do is I grab some zip kicker, and I kind of squirt it on from the bottom of the bottle that actually pulls it up from the bottom of the bottle there. And that way I'm not putting it in the air, I'm not hitting some aerosols, I'm not getting in my face, I'm not getting in my hands, I'm not getting on my computer, my cameras, all that stuff. It's also very good to not be breathing that stuff in, trust me. So once this is done, pretty much you just kind of let it dry, and it's going to be good to go, very strong, and it's going to be able to lock onto those the arms of the Carnifex, and you're going to get a nice flush bond, and it's good to go, and you can do it for the rest of your parts there. So that's pretty much the whole tutorial in a nutshell there. Make sure you stay in the trenches, subscribe to this YouTube channel, check out the blog, spikybitsblog.com, and be sure to head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content and early access videos. Become a veteran of the Long War today. And there he is. Rawr.
Yo, hobby maniacs, thanks for checking out my channel. Don't forget, there's tons of other tutorials, unboxings, and tips and tactics videos on here as well. And make sure you visit my best friend Kenny B's fresh hobby channel over on Next Level Painting.